welcome back to the Blue Podcast Network. This is the Red Show. I am joined by Henry, Tom and Lloyd, and today we are ranking the top 10 best centre-backs currently in the Premier League.
This was hard.
So yeah.
It was so difficult.
So right-backs and goalkeepers were hard because there are so many good ones. Centre-backs was hard because I was struggled to find good ones.
Right.
Players who have been good this season.
There were so many.
There's so many.
Also, there were so many.
Difficult,
Yeah, but
I think
But bear in mind, this is a position that normally has minimum 2 players in each team, and we've got to pick 10.
But it's something about centre-backs in the Premier at the moment
tough.
where I really struggle to find really
like
good
with the goalkeepers,
players.
you kind of had like your maximum 20 anyway.
Yeah.
There was like 45 here.
Yeah.
So
It was-
a lot of centre-backs.
It's not easy.
I apologise, boys.
You should.
Can I just
Anyway.
make a little statement here, which you guys might be surprised by, from me? No Chelsea centre-backs in my list.
There's none in mine.
There's one in mine.
There's one in yours, is there? There's
None
none in
in
mine
mine.
either.
No.
Um,
Levi Colwell should have made it, but
But I think we're all going to be missing a decent name.
Yeah.
Shall we go with number 10?
Yep.
I've got Crystal Palace, Mark Gahey.
ooh, I've got him higher.
How about
Okay.
you?
I've got him slightly higher.
Okay.
I've got Sven Botman.
Sven Botman.
Botman.
Yeah.
I was thinking about him, but I thought he hadn't played enough this season.
He's missed it. He's missed out on mine.
He's missed.
He's missed out on mine.
There is a. I
But
will.
you said to me something like we've got to factor in quality.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think as a centre back, he's probably a top 10 in the Prem.
I think
Quality wise, when he
Yeah,
plays.
when he plays, but he hasn't played. He didn't play last
But we're
season
not
either.
just. Yes, he did.
Yeah,
Did he?
he did.
Miss half a season, didn't he?
No,
He's been out for a long
He's had-
time.
He's had a fair few injuries. I do think
Um,
you're right.
But, when he
But
played-
there is. What I will say is there
Yeah.
is a Newcastle centre back in my list.
Oh,
We'll
okay.
come on to that. At a later
There
date.
is.
I'm going to say my 10th now,
Okay.
and I want you all to remain calm
Okay.
because there's a reason why I put him in. This is the only controversial one. The rest of them I've done properly, but this one I've.
Are you scared?
Just
Not really.
Considering the hate that he's had, and
Harry Maguire.
how bad he's been
Harry
last season.
Oh, is it?
Harry Maguire
Harry
makes my
Maguire.
list, and the reason he makes my list, I didn't even realise. I was looking through the stats to try and find some players who stand out defensively. Harry Maguire has the most interceptions in the Premier this season.
Yeah, but
Per
could that
game.
be because United get so many attacks against them compared to someone
That
like?
would have been the
Potentially.
Manchester United centre back I picked.
But he's been the most
I couldn't
form
put
one.
in Lissandro Martinez because he is the biggest liability in the world.
Well, and bearing in mind, we don't. When is this pod actually coming out when we're recording?
He's injured
this?
right now. Isn't
Well,
he?
exactly.
Yeah.
So let's say in a month's time, like that's the reason he's not in my list. If he was, he would have been in my list if he wasn't injured.
What, Martinez?
Yeah.
No.
Really?
Yeah, I don't rate him.
So he's had a poor season. He's had
No,
some
he's had-
moments.
I think he's been good, man.
Defensively wise, he's been poor. I've said this to you a few times. Attacking wise, he's improved. We scored the goal against you guys.
Yeah.
But
Thank you for reminding me.
no worries.
I think there's work to be done, and I think Martinez has the better future. But right now, he's made mistakes. The Licks has
Yeah.
made mistakes. Yoro hasn't played enough.
Terrible against Southampton as well.
Yeah. And Harry Maguire, through all of this, has had a captaincy stripped of him, been embarrassed, relegated, almost got sold. And this whole time, whenever he's played for Manchester United this season, he has been solid. And actually, he's been our best defender. Because you look at it, you
I
look
think
at
he's
the
been better than
moments.
Martinez.
Right, this season, you have to say
Oh,
it.
no
This
way.
season, you have to say that because he has done the most defensive work and has not made. I don't think he's even made an error. I can't think of one off the top of my head. And Martinez has made plenty.
So interesting
have to look at it.
defending a Manchester United player whilst wearing a Liverpool shirt. But I'm going to defend Martinez here. I really like him as a centre back.
He's
I
got
think
a better
good-
future, and he's got. a
I
future
think
at
he's a
Manchester United,
solid
but right
player.
now-
Like
I still
with the
think
ball at his feet, I think he's great in terms of like aerially. That's his weakness for sure. That's what
But
I think.
Look at
On-
the first
on
season
the-
though.
on
Him
the floor.
aerially
Yeah,
was fantastic.
Yeah, this season I think it's dropped off. I think actually when the ball's on the ground, I think he makes a lot of interceptions and good challenges. Apart from when he lunges in 2-footed.
God, yeah.
He needs to stop that, or else he will eventually get sent off.
Ugarte did it,
Ugarte
even-
did the
yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
Ugarte
Did
did
he?
the same thing. Yeah.
When was
Literally
that?
exactly the
On
same
Friday.
jump and
Oh,
and
wow.
stamp. Yeah.
No,
Love it.
I like Harry Maguire. I always have done, and I hate this stick he gets. But for me, he's not top
Not
10
10. He's not
centre backs
top
in the
10.
Prem. It's
I
think
struggle
there's
to find
better.
players.
Sven Botman is a better centre back than Harry Maguire.
If he had played, I would have agreed with you. But he has barely played this season, and
think-
therefore I
think
can't put
with
him in.
I think with a list like this, you've got to I know it's difficult to, but you've got to kind of mix it in a way
Yeah.
with quality and current, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Because, like I
100%.
said, I looked at the kind of defensive records of teams, and I saw Newcastle being very high in a lot of defensive metrics. And I was like, okay, so a Newcastle defender has got to get in this list somehow. I looked at the game time of the centre backs, and I thought, okay, it's going to be Botman, but it wasn't. It was somebody else who, again, we'll come on to in a minute.
Right, okay.
Can we come on to it now?
Number
Yeah,
9?
I've got
we
my
can't.
number 10 first.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I've gone for Milenkovic.
Oh, I love that.
10th.
Love that.
Doesn't make my list.
He doesn't make the list. I think
Doesn't
he's been.
make
I think he.
mine,
I
though.
think he has been solid. Like he's a solid
doesn't make
player.
mine.
He was my 11th.
He's I just think this season's looked very good at Fiorentina. He was a solid player as well. Yeah, for me, he gets in the top 10. I've been impressed with him this season.
He is in my fantasy.
He
team.
earned a move like two years ago at Fiorentina, and then has just never got it. And then you've taken a chance on him
For like 11
and
million
it's
as
paid
well.
off.
Great bit of business.
Unreal.
Yeah, to be fair, actually, Sven's only played 3 Premier League games this season.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not.
He's not been available,
Unfortunately.
unfortunately. For
But
him.
I think that's why the left backs and the right backs for Newcastle have been reasonably high as well.
Oh yeah.
So I think, and Nick Pope as well. So I think it's just one of those things where if Botman had played the entire season, he might have made my list because he is that quality player. But
fair.
you have to consider it.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
On to number 9.
Ninth place then.
Number 9. Mine might be a bit. I'm not sure because he's not been great this season like most of his teammates. I've got Akanji.
Right.
So I think when Akanji's on it, he's quality.
I think he's made too many mistakes to even make my
Yeah,
top 10.
agreed. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but I just think I've always liked Kanji. I've always liked him. I know this season has been dodgy, but when like I said, when he's on it, he's a great player.
Yeah.
Henry?
This is where I put Levi Colwill.
Right.
Again, I think been your best defender, and you had a good spell there where you wouldn't admit it, but you were challenging for a title, and then you've dropped off again. But he's always been that leader from the back. It makes a lot of sense. That
His
it's good with his
potential
feet,
is very high.
very defensively solid. Makes it into my list just. And again, there's one player I think misses out who's a bit hard done by, who was originally in my list before I remembered that Mark Gahey existed. Ethan Pinnock I think is a bit unfairly missed out.
Pinnock's good.
Who had made my list, and Gahey Cole was slightly higher, but since Gahey's come in, I was like, yeah, he has been better this season.
So I'm going to preface mine again with I think the quality of the player puts him in the list because if he plays, he is a top 10 centre back. That is Mickey van der Ven.
Right.
When he plays, he's a top 10 centre back.
Yeah, he's not.
I do.
He's the
I agree
one-
with what you've said, but the problem is he hasn't played.
Yeah, I know, I agree.
Yeah.
But when he plays, he's a top 10 centre back.
Van
So
der-
that's why but this is why Sven and Van der Ven are so low.
Yeah.
They are in 9 and 10 because obviously they haven't played enough. But if we're including last season and the games that they do play and the quality that they are,
Yeah.
I wanted to put them in the list.
If we make this list a year ago, their consideration for us very top, but
Yeah.
they can't be for this season.
Van der Ven was the one that just missed out on my list.
Yeah.
Like I really wanted to get him in because, like you said, when he plays, he's quality. He's probably the quickest centre back in the world, maybe in the Premier League.
And he's sat right there.
Yeah, but he's so fast
Yeah.
and just good on the ball, good defensively, but he just missed out on mine. I really wanted to get him in.
I've just looked down and seen the rest of his list. Well, the next couple of players
You're
on
not
his
supposed
list.
to
Right.
look.
I couldn't help
He
it.
couldn't help
I know I want to
himself.
throw up.
It's not that bad.
No, I
Both
mean,
of them are awful.
Yeah, I've got Mark Gahey, 9th. I think he's a solid centre back. He's had a good season for Crystal Palace. I think he's actually been better this season than he was last season. I think he's improved.
Had a great
I feel
Euros.
he's been let down by his club a lot with the sale of Anderson to Fulham. Has really let him down, and he's had to switch from that right side centre back to that central centre back and take up that central position. And I think he's played better, but I think he's much more comfortable playing on that right channel.
Although
I'm changing my list because I'm about to say something about Crystal Palace, ex-Crystal Palace centre back. Trevor Chalobah, I think, gets in 10 over Sven Botman.
Oh, right.
He's had a better season than Gahey at Crystal Palace.
really,
He
wow.
did. I think he did
Do you think
statistically
so?
as well.
Yeah, that
Trevor
whole
Chalobah, I
situation
think,
with Trevor
actually,
Chalobah.
Gets into my top 10.
I think another Crystal Palace centre back's had a really good season as well.
What, LaCroix?
LaCroix.
I think he's been quality.
He was
been
one I
okay.
thought about. Just
Actually, I am putting Chalobah
I
in
think
10.
he's been quality. We may get onto
I
him
think
later.
I think Gahey just edges over LaCroix
Yeah,
Right.
in terms of Palace centre back.
Yeah, I mean, if you,
100%. Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
Both
But
the
quality.
whole
If
the
we're
whole
including
Chalobah
the end of last
situation.
season as well, Trevor Chalobah was part of that defence that won 5 games. on
yeah,
the bounce.
yeah, no, of course.
I think he's had. Having spoken to Crystal Palace fans, he has had a bet. They were like Chalobah's actually played better than Gahey this season. But I'm not going to put him high. I'm just going to put it in 10.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Trev-
But I
Got a
would
Chelsea
say,
player in there.
what I would say though is that is an embarrassment to Chelsea that they have trying to usher him out the squad for that FFP profit rather than playing your
Well-
strong academy graduate.
I think it's because they could. Otherwise, they'd lose FFP if they didn't
Right.
get rid of him a bit. So
I think it's an embarrassment for me. I know I keep saying this because I'm a United fan. Like we are academy.
you can't
through.
talk about players leaving and doing better, mate. You can shut up. Thank
Anthony.
you.
Elanga.
Anthony. Rashford will.
Elanga.
But
Scott
yeah,
McTominay.
you should never have got rid of him and bought Disasi and Badiashile. Like that's
Right.
an embarrassment.
Anyway,
So, top 8. I want to stress I've based this off of this season.
Okay.
The left back list that I did was very last minute, so it was a little bit more different. I've put an Everton player in there. I think he's been incredibly solid. No, it's James Tarkowski.
Oh, whoa!
I think he's been really solid for Everton this season. He's one of the main reasons why they will stay in the division. He's one of the main reasons why Burnley stayed in the division for so long. Don't get me wrong. He wouldn't be able to play a high line like in Liverpool or Arsenal or in City, but my goodness me,
suits Everton to a T.
Does he put his body on the line? I mean, it's a joke. Like aerially, he's solid. Don't get me wrong. On the ball, not the best, but defensively, he's as sound as it gets. Really, he's a solid player.
He's one of them. Like he's just horrible to go up against because he'll kick you. He's just he's probably one of the last traditional English centre halves in a way.
Texting during the podcast.
It's a work thing. I have to answer. Sorry.
Who's everyone else got it out?
This is where Mark Gahey sits for me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Solid again. But again, I think if Palace hadn't had this poor start that they had and hadn't maybe sold Anderson, then I think he could be a lot higher. But there are a bit other standout performers who make it higher onto this list.
I've got Calvin Bassey.
Really?
Interesting.
So I really like this player.
I think every time I've watched him play, he has impressed me very, very much. And he's also, I'd say, a big part of how Fulham have levelled up their game this season.
Yeah.
I think he's a massive part of that. Obviously, Anderson coming in as well. But I think looking at the stats and having watched passing the eye test, I think Bassey's actually had the better season. Obviously, Anderson's helped them a lot because he's a fantastic centre-back. But obviously having them both there, I think Bassey, just in my opinion, gets it.
Well, Bassey is the classier ball-playing centre-back, whilst Anderson does the dirty stuff. I
remember when he drove from his own bloody half past Chelsea, got into the box, took a shot, should have scored.
Underrated, and I feel bad of not even considered him. But I think he had a poor season last season as well, and played a lot of games at left-back.
Yes.
But as a centre-half, in that pairing,
he steps up massively.
And I think the fact that he's played left back before, it kind of allows Robinson to get further forward.
Because then you know he'll defend the channel.
Exactly. I'd actually would warrant Anthony Robinson's success this season to Bassey being inside him.
Yeah.
I don't know at the same time.
I was actually. You mentioned Anderson there. I'll let you just.
Is this your number 8?
No. Anderson isn't. I thought about Anderson putting him in my list, but he didn't make it.
Last season he makes my list. This season, unfortunately.
Number 8, I have to back my boy Murillo.
Okay.
I think
that is a disgrace that he is as low as you put him.
You
he
think?
Should be higher.
I've got him higher.
I've got him way higher.
I think there's some that are just better than him because obviously Murillo's pet heave is probably in the air. Because he's not the biggest.
But we've seen how smaller defenders can actually be really dominant in the air by having good positioning and being physically strong.
Yeah, I absolutely adore Murillo right now. Just his passing ability is one of the best I've ever seen for a centre back. The way he can just switch a ball just like that, it's quality. And I want to put him higher, but I just don't want to be. I just think there are slightly better than him. Maybe next season.
Yeah,
I could put him higher, and he's obviously had a quality season for us.
Yeah,
I do think there are.
At the very least, you should switch him with the one who's above him, and that player should then just drop out the list completely.
No, I've got a good reasoning for my number 6.
Oh right,
number 6.
Number 7.
Which ones are we on? 7.
Dean Huijsen.
He's on my list as well, but he's higher.
He's higher.
I think because he's not been in the Premier League for long enough is why he's in 7th.
Interesting.
But I can see in a year's time we do this list again, he gets higher.
Well, no, he doesn't because he's not playing in the Premier League anymore. He's playing for Juventus or he's playing for Bayern.
What?
Or for Barca. He'll get a big move.
Well, he surely will not go back to Juventus.
He came from Juventus. That would be
go back.
Silly, wouldn't it?
Well, no, he'll go back.
No, he won't.
Nothing wrong going back.
I think if Bournemouth get European football this season, he stays.
Yeah.
If they get European football, there's no reason for him to leave.
He loves it there. You can tell.
Yeah. He can. He's playing football like he enjoys it, and he's a centre back, and he's like 20.
I see him taking a step up again next season. If I'm honest, he's that good enough.
19?
I think he's 19.
I think he's 19.
The thing I see, weird, I don't know if you saw it on
me.
TikTok, but there's a weird swap triangle going on with Newcastle, Bournemouth and Juventus. Because Lloyd Kelly's obviously gone to Juventus now from Newcastle. Mm-hmm. So if Huijsen then goes to Newcastle, they've done that kind of 3-way swap.
But I don't see... There'd be absolutely no reason for him to go to Newcastle.
No, I know, but it'd be funny if it happened, wouldn't it? They are looking to spend big on a centre back. I know,
but like it wouldn't make sense for his career
yeah.
to go to a new club in that basically you could arguably say at the same level as Bournemouth are right now.
I mean, my number 7. Thinking of it, I probably should have had Murillo over him.
Right.
Because I don't know, it's a difficult one. It's John Stones.
He's higher for me.
Disgusting. Doesn't make my list by a long shot.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, no, he's not on
piss
mine
poor.
either.
Piss poor this season.
Yeah, I know this season, but
this
yeah,
is
I get
currently
what
who's
you
the best
mean.
centre
I get what you
backs.
mean with this guy, right? But 3 of the last 4 seasons in the Premier League, he's played less than 50% of the matches. The
But
guy
when
is
he's
injured
played-
all the time.
When he plays, he is
brilliant. He's
unbelievable.
brilliant.
He's a solid player, but like
No.
I want you to play more than
Not
50%
at least
of
someone
the
else
games.
has him on.
Yeah,
there.
that, and also when he has played this season, he hasn't been that good. Last season, he's been pretty decent.
No, to be fair,
and
yeah,
a couple of
I'd back
seasons ago, I would have
But
maybe
no
put him
one,
in. But
no one's been good for City this year.
exactly,
They have
and
been.
therefore,
People have been
you
good
don't
for
put
City.
you
them
know,
in.
you know,
Yeah.
half the team.
Exactly. You can't. How poor City have been defensively this season. How many
Yeah.
goals they're shipping in odd situations which you wouldn't expect from them. You can't then say certain players are the best.
I would
in the
actually
league or
say
something in the
most of
league.
the time that they tend to ship goals is when John Stones doesn't play.
But that's most of the games.
I mean,
And again, then you come back to
he's
the
missed a
fitness
lot of
thing.
games this year.
And then you come back to the
Yeah.
fitness thing as
But
well,
he
which
missed
is
it- he's
another
missed-
factor.
don't get me wrong, great
Mate,
player on
When
the
he
ball
played
and
yesterday
stuff.
against Real Madrid, he was unreal.
I just can't believe you
They
got.
lost,
I
didn't they?
can't
3-2.
believe you.
Shipped
Yeah.
3 goals.
Yeah,
Can't
but-
you say he was good and shipped 3 goals?
Mate, you've got-
You can't.
still
Right.
say
But you can't.
because he was playing in midfield.
Well, that's weird as well. Well, then you can't
Yeah.
count him as a centre back then.
Yeah, but
You
you've got Maguire over him.
Yeah,
That
Yeah,
is-
that's a piss take.
Yeah,
that is a
you got
fucking
Maguire over.
piss
Yeah,
take.
Actually,
what
I
have you
feel very
what
happy
have you
about
based the list on? Have you based it more on this season
No.
or is it?
Well, currently, at this current moment in
Right,
time, who would
currently,
have top
yeah.
10? Otherwise, I would have
yeah.
included
Yeah,
Botman
but
in
Maguire,
that lot.
Maguire's
It's-
bottom
I can't.
half of the table. It's
Yeah, Maguire's in
Yeah.
fucking 13th
actually
place.
saying that he had Tarkowski.
And
Yeah, but he's been quality.
Yeah, I know.
I, to be fair, I
They've
did.
had a lot of clean sheets and
Yeah.
low
Yeah,
scoring
yeah.
games.
Yeah.
You know,
I did-
Harry Maguire is fucking dog shit in comparison to John Stones.
I did prefix it with this is the one dodgy one. The
Right.
rest of them are solid. But yeah, I don't see John Stones being this.
Okay, so
My number 7
you're number 7.
is the other Newcastle centre back, Fabian Schär, who has been solid
he's
when
been
he's been
good.
playing.
He's been good.
And in this last kind of 12-month period, we've had a lot of injuries to the likes of Botman,
Yeah.
who was their big money signing at centre half. And he's stepped up and he has been ridiculously good, especially considering he's pre-buy Saudi money. He's pre that. They bought him way ages ago from the Bundesliga, I'm pretty sure. And they've kept him because he's been that good. And he's been solid and he's been consistent, which I think is what you want from at least one of your centre backs, just consistency. No, not world class, not like scoring screamers, like just solid, just there and present.
Yeah,
and reliable.
where was he at before? I don't even.
I thought he was at Gladbach.
I thought he was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I thought he was at Gladbach.
I think he was. Was he at Anderlecht at some point?
Do you want me to have a look? Or
I
Yeah,
reckon
Bates
it's
Google's right
Gladbach,
now.
you know.
Yeah,
I think Henry's
I
got
think
it.
there was somewhere before though. Lille.
Oh,
Oh, was it?
there was another
Did he play
one.
for
There's
Gladbach?
another Swiss
Elvedi.
player. That's it.
That's what you're
You've got it
thinking of.
right.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
right.
of Elvedi.
Cool.
When did he join?
2022.
So they'd have been taken over by then.
Did
You
he?
stupid muppet.
Seriously?
hasn't been taken over yet.
You joined in
To
2022?
be
You
fair,
sure?
No, I
that
don't-
feels.
no.
It
know what I
feels.
mean?
Yeah.
Me and
it
Ubaid
feels-
literally instantly looked at them and
before.
went, that's completely wrong.
No,
Yes.
surely not. I'm going to look this up.
Wow.
I can't believe that. He's been there for ages. He
Well-
was there with. It feels like he was a partner of Colaccini. That's how long ago I'm.
No, not that.
What are you
far.
on about?
No.
Maybe there was another Swiss centre back.
Just move on, mate.
Yeah.
Just move on. You got it wrong. Move on.
Right.
2018. What are you on about? He's been there since 2018. Look.
Yeah.
Oh, he has then.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
I thought.
Oh,
See,
gonna
yeah.
say.
and he was from Hoffenheim and.
Yeah.
Have you got the wrong
Oh,
person?
Basel. That's where it was.
No.
I'm good. What the fuck is
Ubaid.
wrong
Right.
with you?
Let's quickly move on.
So
you
I'm
made me
right.
look like a dickhead now.
What
Right.
number? What number?
My
are you at?
number 7 is I've gone based off this season, and I think he's been the Crystal Palace best centre half. Actually, Maxence Lacroix. I think he's been better. I think he's been a really good signing. I like him on the ball, calm, good in the air. Overall, all round, Palace defensively, they've been decently solid this season. They've not conceded too many goals in big games. I know they lost 5-1 to Arsenal,
Yeah.
but you know, they're slowly getting there. As I said, I really like the team. I just think it's a really, really good side, and they can definitely push on.
Yeah.
But they just need to find that consistency throughout the whole season.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So for me, he's in 7th.
Cool.
Yeah.
Done you 7th?
I've done my 7th. That was Shaw.
All right. Number 6, I've got to put Murillo.
Love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got the same.
Explain why.
It's not 6th for me, but it's close.
I've gone Howson or
Yeah.
Huijsen.
Yeah, Huijsen.
Yeah.
I have
I-
also gone
I
Huijsen.
Yeah,
personally do think he's better than Murillo. I
I think
absolutely.
he will be. I don't think he's
Yeah,
played.
I
I don't think he's
just-
been good enough yet.
Well, I think it's easier on the eye watching Huijsen because he plays in a better footballing team,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. So Huijsen's a lot easier on the eye. I just think he's quality.
I don't disagree with that.
For being 19
I
as
can't believe
well.
Juventus let him go. I really
Yeah, it
can't.
made no sense.
It
It's
made
poor
no
business.
sense
No
whatsoever.
sense.
Like
That's
him-
poor business.
His debut was against us on the opening day of the season. I was looking at the lineup. Who the hell is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he put in a man of the match worthy performance.
So I remember seeing a TikTok where one of this is, you know, the guy with the shaved head. He kind of like looks down the camera and then like talks, like does a date and then talks about a really interesting football story.
Yes, I know who
Podcast.
you're on about. Yeah.
So it was his podcast and he was speaking about Huijsen when he was at Juventus and he was like, watch out for this guy. He's gonna be unbelievable.
Yeah.
He was like 17 at the time or whatever. Just let him go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ridiculous. And I know Gatti's been good this season for Juventus. He's been solid. But I just think if they
Yeah.
added Huijsen in there, he would be just as good, and then it adds some quality to
Yeah.
it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 with Huijsen for me as well, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Number 5, I put Mark Gahey.
Okay.
Solid. I think last
'Cause-
season I'd agree with you.
I don't know. Thinking about Chalobah now, I actually think he's had a better season, but I just think the leadership he brings, the quality he has, and the fact that he's starting for England as well, in my opinion.
How much would you be willing to spend to bring him back to Chelsea?
I said 60, 65,
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
but we
Yeah.
won't do that now.
You'd have to give them Chalobah and then
No, we'd
pay
have to
money.
just sell other players.
Well, you'd have to sell Disasi, sell Badiashile, and then give them Chalobah as well, and then you would probably be okay.
Okay.
I
But
don't think so, but fine.
because you want to make up a value of 65 million basically, so you don't mess your FFP
Right.
up.
I think we get 30 and 30 for Sarsi and Badiashile.
20, I'd say.
You could get.
But I think
can
you
get some
make it. I
money.
think those 3
Yeah.
players are enough. But
Yeah.
I know.
yeah.
Who was your guys'
Um,
fifth?
My fifth is Ruben Diaz.
Okay.
I think he could be higher,
No.
but
I put John Stones. I only wanted to put one Man City player in.
Yeah,
so
he's
I
not
couldn't-
in my
Yeah,
he's not in my
I
list
couldn't
either.
stomach
Diaz based
bringing
off
them
this
up.
season.
I know
for
it
me.
sounds like
I think
bias,
he's
but they
been
have
solid.
I
shite.
think he's also well class.
he's
He
Diaz
is.
is
But
solid,
I also say
but
he's
yeah.
not played it a lot because Pep, for some reason, now doesn't want to play him. It's
He's
weird.
been injured.
He's had injuries as well,
Yeah.
but he's been on the bench a lot,
Yeah.
and it's
But
just
I
a
think
bit
that's
weird.
a lot of coming
He
back
doesn't-
from injury.
He doesn't make my list, but he's played well when he's played.
Yeah,
Like-
he should be the start. He should be playing 20
So-
games this season.
So did you say who your fifth is?
No,
No.
my fifth is Murillo.
Murillo?
He has been quality.
Okay.
And one of the main reasons why you have been as good as you are looking
Yeah.
for the right
So
person.
it's pretty much opposite for me. I put Murillo sixth. I've got Dean Howson fifth.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think
it's
Howson's
very-
slightly better.
Yeah.
we've got that kind of like 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th.
Yeah,
right?
they're all in the
Pretty
same kind of
similar.
category. Yeah.
Here we
So
go.
the top 4 has made up of 2 clubs for me.
Yeah. Same
Is it
for
same
me.
for you?
Same for me.
Is it the same for you?
Two
No.
clubs, yep.
3 clubs.
3 clubs.
So who's your number 4 then?
John Stones.
Oh,
Okay.
Never mind, ignore you. Go on 4th.
Wait, hang on a second. So you missed out one of Canate, Gabriel, or Van Dijk,
Whoa.
or Saliba.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
you're missing one there.
Missing one of those 4.
Yep.
What, not on your list at all?
Nope.
I think I know which one
Well,
he's missed. And I don't
I've
think I'm going to
got-
be very pleased.
Yeah, I agree.
In
You're
number
not going to be.
No.
in
How
num-
is he not in top 10? Sorry.
When I watch him, I feel like he gets found out.
Really?
Wait, who's
Oh
that?
no, I'm
Just
so
so you-
calm
Ma-
when Canate's at the back.
I see him get found out.
Do you leave Kanate out?
Yeah.
He's
Well,
not in
let's
his
come on
top
to that when we talk
10.
about
Kanate's my number 4.
Right, yeah, he's my number 4 as well.
So I disagree with that completely.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
I've gone with Gabriel as my number 4.
Okay.
Whoa,
Again,
no,
it's
no, no,
interesting.
no, no, no,
Lenny's not
no,
happy.
no, no, no.
Lenny is not
That
happy.
is very
Again,
false.
it's one of those
Very,
things.
very false. Look at the Arsenal fans behind
Then
you.
again,
say
I
that's
don't think
absolutely shocking.
Ibu's
There's no-
massively
right, hang on.
far off.
I'm
Like
right.
you're saying that's
Hang
outrageous.
on,
No,
hang
but
on,
Gabriel's
hang on.
better than Saliba.
Let me justify.
Yeah, I
Gabriel's
agree.
better than
So-
Saliba, so how is he below Canate?
Top
No, I agree.
four
I agree. The
is-
list is not right.
Top
but-
4 is incredibly close.
No, it's
right?
not as close as you think.
It is incredibly close.
Bottom 2, if you're going to do it that way, should be Canate then Saliba.
I think it's close between those 3 though.
I
And then
think it is
Van Dijk's there.
Yeah,
Like, there's a gap.
We'll come
those
back onto
three
that in a
are
second,
those
but
3 are
Gabriel's
closer
there.
together
It's one
than
of
they
those
are to Van
things.
Dijk.
It's one of those things where, again, the classier defenders end up looking better because they're on the ball a lot more and they're doing that kind of passing work. It's midfield work plus it's defensive work, and they look a little bit classier, even if the other players play just as well. And Gabriel has been doing the dirty work, and he's been really good. Like I say, these 4 positions are incredibly tight.
I do sometimes think you don't watch enough Premier League football.
But Gabriel is just, it's just not quite as good as my number 3, which is Konate.
Right.
For me, I just think Liverpool. You look at Liverpool's defensive record compared to Arsenal's, and you just see how solid you've been. Like, you don't concede goals very often.
There's a drop off when Konate is not in the team. That's for sure. I will give you that. When we have Quansah come in or Gomez, there is that
complete drop off.
Say that about
I know you can, but like I'm trying to aid.
Exactly, and I would say that Konate. He is pleasing on the eye as well as being the solid player as well, because both Van Dijk and Konate have moments where they're on the ball making incredible passing moves,
and you also see Konate give the ball away.
Not that often, and not this season. Again, you're looking at current.
I mean,
you have to kind of say
the
that
quota was quality with current, not just current.
It was,
and even just current. Gabriel's fucking miles better.
Like I said, it's tight, but I still would rather have Konate.
It's not tight.
I don't think it's a massive gap as what you're saying.
But I still think there's actually a player between Gabriel and Konate.
Yes. Yeah. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I think there is. Saliba. I think Saliba. Yeah.
Yes.
That's Saliba is. Well, you guys start saying
This is where I don't think you've been watching enough Premier League football.
I've got Saliba at number 3.
Yes.
That's my.
I've actually got Saliba ahead of Gabriel.
Right. Okay.
I prefer.
Okay.
So I say this a lot. And I know a lot of Arsenal fans agree with me. Right now, Gabriel is the better centre back and has been for the last year. The reason Saliba gets so highly rated is because he's 21.
He's young.
Gabriel's not exactly
22.
I don't know why.
And Gabriel's 26.
26.
He's not exactly old.
So he's not exactly old either. But everyone thinks that he's way older than he is. He's still getting into his prime, and he is playing better than Saliba. And just everyone forgets about this information when they're watching Arsenal, and then they clearly just don't watch Arsenal enough to actually see how much better game week in, week out Gabriel. 23, 27. That was close.
I just think Saliba defensive. I know they're both absolute quality defenders.
Oh yeah,
but I think defensively Saliba just has that edge for me.
Yeah,
and obviously Gabriel's better in the other box because he scores so many goals. And
yeah, who would you, I'd have Gabriel.
Saliba.
I'd have Gabriel last man.
Saliba.
Yeah, even though Arsenal fans are saying Gabriel last man, Saliba gets found out way more often than Gabriel in 1v1.
Well, what was it?
But he doesn't let you get into 1v1. That's the thing.
You guys are just seeing the media rage after not watching the full game of when Saliba pocketed Haaland once. Like it's not the real battle between Haaland and Gabriel, not between Haaland and Saliba.
Didn't Haaland score in both the games this season?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's why Liverpool players have got ahead for me.
And guess who he normally beats when he scores?
Yeah.
Gabriel. Not Gabriel, sorry, Saliba. Saliba, I meant Saliba.
I think again, it's that thing of I said it before. It's that,
he
that
beat
kind of
Saliba to the header in the last game.
And I also don't think Saliba gets himself into 1v1 situations very often because his defensive positioning is so good that he doesn't allow that to even get to that stage. You intercept the ball before you even get to that position.
Being put in a 1v1 has nothing to do with your positioning.
It can be. If you try for if you go for a through ball right into an attacker with space, and then Saliba is having to backtrack to get himself into a 1v1 situation. Saliba's defensive positioning is good enough that he can position himself to intercept.
If Ben White's all the way up the pitch, Gabriel's on the left, and let's say Timber's on the left, right, and a ball over the top to the far, let's say left-hand corner, and Haaland's running into that corner, right? Then who's going to be in the 1v1 situation?
Gabriel, because it's the left-hand side.
No, Haaland's facing that way.
I don't know what you're saying.
Saliba. Saliba.
I think we've got to remember, right, is that as much as I put it in this order, it is incredibly tight, and we've got to respect the fact that these 4 defenders are the top 4 defenders.
They bring quality.
I think
like Rio Ferdinand said, enjoy them both.
Exactly.
Enjoy
and
them both,
I think that leads us on to number 1,
which
do we all agree?
Yeah,
Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Morata.
Without a doubt.
Virgil van Dijk.
What do you mean Jack Stevens and Jan Bednarek?
For context, Matt and Lenny just wrote down Jack Stevens and Bednarek.
They wouldn't even be the top defenders in the championship.
Bednarek's been getting points in FPL this season.
Has he?
Yeah.
But
He's been on my bench every time. But
has he? Minus points, maybe.
No, points. 7 points, like 4 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hey, Bednarek. He scores against us.
Weird.
But no, Van Dijk. Just
he's quality.
He is the Rolls Royce defender, but
absolutely unbelievable.
He's Rolls Royce and he's dirty as well. This is what I'm saying about Liverpool, right? They're both. It's not a hard working defender and a classy defender. They're both the same. They're both classy.
Incredibly
they're both hardworking.
hardworking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm going just to finish off the podcast. I want to ask you all a question: John Terry or Van Dijk?
Van Dijk. Ube, don't give me that look. Van Dijk.
That is shocking.
I
never
don't
really
know.
watched John
It's-
Terry, to be
it's
fair,
tight.
but
He was a
we're
dirty
talking.
bastard.
We're going attribute on attribute.
Yeah.
What are we saying?
John
Pace. No. Let's go for it.
We're going
Speed.
FIFA, are we?
So pace.
Speed.
Well, if it's attribute per attribute, let's say.
Van Dijk, yeah.
Van Dijk is faster, yeah.
Right.
Shooting.
Better on the ball. Who's
Shooting.
better on the ball?
John Terry.
He did miss
Terry-
that penalty.
No, Van
he
Dijk's
did,
better.
he
on
did
the
miss
ball,
that penalty.
man.
He slipped on a
Van
Russian
Dijk-
shitty pitch.
Van
mate.
Dijk's
Shut
better
up.
on the ball.
VVD could ping a pass 70, 80 yards.
And so could John
yeah, I
Terry.
know he could, but like, could he do it both feet?
Yes.
Both,
The big thing about John
Nah,
Terry when he was
man.
both-footed.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
See,
That
I
was the
told you
whole
I didn't
point.
watch him that much. See,
Yeah.
but
So yes,
he
John
works
Terry.
with a lot.
But-
I'd say Konate is better than Cahill, and I would say
Yes.
that Van Dijk
Yeah.
and any of the other partners he had. I'd say Terry edged it just
Cavallo probably was better than Canate.
I didn't watch enough of him to
2004.
comment. In all
Also,
fairness.
bear in mind,
See,
John
we're
Terry
young.
was part of a defence that only conceded 15 goals in the season. Bear in mind, it actually would have been 13, but he was
Yeah.
injured for the last 2 games of the season.
I think
and that's what he
defensively,
conceded the last two.
and physically,
Yeah.
John Terry.
by a country mile. And
Yeah.
also reading
Not
of the,
a
reading of the
country.
game. Reading of the game was better because, as you said, he wasn't as fast,
Yeah.
but he got to every single ball
It's
before every
Nah,
what I
Van
would say
Dijk,
is
man.
this, right? It's tighter than you think,
It is tighter.
but it
I would
is
say-
John Terry.
But that's why that's the question.
But it is
is
John
John Terry.
Terry, I think.
I
yeah,
can't.
still.
I can't really comment on it. I didn't
Also-
watch it. But
also,
from
look
what
at
I've seen,
achievements.
Van Dijk's a joke.
No, I
Pe-
know, I
People
dis- I
don't consider
disagree.
enough
I don't disagree.
trophies, right?
Trophies
How many
as well.
trophies did John
Oh,
Terry
we're not
win?
doing
People
trophies.
don't
No,
consider it enough.
Mate, no, trophies shouldn't be brought into it.
It's
Mate,
100%
individual.
should.
Divock Origi's won the Champions League.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't make him a better player.
But he
than-
scored.
He's not a better striker than Harry
right,
Kane,
if he
is
hadn't
he?
played in that Champions League, I'd understand. But he scored 2 very crucial goals in a semi-final against
And
Barcelona.
Yeah,
I've
but
watched
100%
Divock. I've
it
watched
counts.
Divock Origi in the season.
No.
No.
No, you were thinking about it then.
No,
You
I'm not
thinking-
saying it's the be all and end all, but I'm saying trophies are incredibly important when you're comparing 2 very incredibly tight players in
I
ability.
don't think you can bring trophies into it because it's.
Raheem Diaz or Bruno Fernandes?
Bruno Fernandes. Is that not? Is that-
But it's not incredibly
I just-
tight, is what I'm saying.
I don't think you can bring
Anyway,
trophies. into
anyway.
it.
V- I
We're
don't-
getting- we're getting distracted.
I know we're getting distracted, but like, yeah, Van,
a good
Let's stick
distraction.
to centre backs for now.
yeah, stick to centre backs for now. Yeah,
I-
Virgil van Dijk.
John
No.
Terry.
I just
For
want
me.
to say, like, I don't think you can bring trophies into the equation because
I'm
it's
not.
more of a team thing,
I'm
isn't
not.
it?
Right.
Yeah, of course it is.
I'm not.
So
Yeah.
I disagree, but fair enough. We'll,
I
that's an
personally-
argument for another
yeah.
day.
From
I
what
personally
I've-
say Van Dijk.
From what I've seen, anyway, did John Terry have I've not seen clips, so I don't know. Did John Terry have defenders running at him and then turning around and going and passing it back 5-10 yards because they didn't want to run up against him?
I'm sure
I've
it
seen
is.
that multiple times with Virgil van Dijk. Like,
Generally, yes. 1v1,
yeah.
1v1, John Terry was unbeatable. He also
Yeah.
scored a lot of goals.
Also,
Yeah,
he
so-
is the perfect style of defender.
Yeah.
He will break a leg if he has to, and I love that about him.
yeah, I mean, I think
Dirty as hell, and I love it.
Van Dijk, we've seen some interesting challenges this
No,
season
I
that
mean,
he's got away with too.
Yeah.
If we're talking about that.
Elbowing a certain someone in the face.
Oh, it was Asensio was. I saw yesterday in the Real Madrid Man City game. Asensio was doing this into the back of Haaland's back,
Yeah,
and then that's why they then squared up.
yeah.
I was like,
Getting in
"Damn."
his head.
Yeah. I like that guy. I like him
He's
a lot.
good, he's a good player.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although
Come out
potentially
nowhere.
been found with something very dodgy on his
Yeah,
phone.
yeah.
Oh.
Let's not
Oh,
talk about.
no,
Let's not
no.
talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's-
And on
I
that
take
note,
that back.
Yeah, so I actually just realised we probably shouldn't talk about him.
No.
Yes,
Maybe that's
Yeah. So on that note, I think that brings an end to this centre back debate. Thank you ever so much for watching. Please subscribe and like to the Blue Podcast Network. Check out our socials, our X, our TikTok, our Instagram. We're on Spotify as well and Apple Music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcast. So please go and check us out, and we'll see you in the next video.